So good morning, team, and good afternoon, team again. We'll begin the session today. Today's webinar is all about securing AI. Basically, what are the AI threats, different strategies, and what is CISA certification advantage that we bring to the table. Today we are riddled. I think not riddled, but I think there's an adoption of AI that's happening right across the world, and a lot of organizations are actually adopting AI into their environment. But one thing that poses a question to them is it secure enough that I can implement AI? And if yes, what are the security measures I should have in place? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? That's something that these are the kind of questions that the organizations are battling with right now. So by security, we are trying to figure out what is it that CISA can help you, and what is it that we see in the market and that you should be adopting. So before we progress further, just a heads up that this is the participants here are muted, but if you have any questions, you can actually post them in the Q&A section or in the chat section. We'll take it up towards the end of the session. And this webinar is about 40 minutes, followed by 20 minutes of Q&A. And so I just wanted to set that right with you. So for those who do not know those who are new to CISA, I just wanted to let you know that CISA is about 18 years old organization, forensic-driven cybersecurity. And the only thing that we do is cybersecurity. We are a pure play cybersecurity organization. We have got 2,000 customers across the globe, and at any given point in time, we are doing about probably helping organizations secure about 1,000 plus active engagement that happen year on year. We are also a global PCI forensic investigator. So that's go to the next slide if you can. Vinci. So again, just wanted to highlight out of the 5 pillars of CISA's offering. I'll just give a brief run through on that. CISA is into compliance. We do help organizations with PCI DSS compliance or anything to do with payment data security compliance. We're also helping organizations with strategy, risk, and privacy compliances as well, like CCPA, GDPR. We also do extensive security testing like application security or network security. Of late, we also venture into IoT security testing. We also have in the cyber resilience portfolio, we have our own SIM and SOC solution. So we actually offer it as an MXDR solution. And we are well known in the industry for our digital forensic and incident response solutions or services as well. We also have under the data governance, we have a product called CISA Radar, primarily used for data discovery and classification. And last but not the least, we do give back to the society in terms of education. So we do have a lot of certification programs that we take, including something like CPSI or CSP-AI, basically for cybersecurity for professionals for artificial intelligence as well. And we do a lot of cybersecurity awareness and forensic learning sessions across. So before we go delve into the session, I would like to present or talk about the presenters today. We have Renju Varghese, who is the VP for Forensics and R&D. He's got 18 years of experience, and he's been pioneering cutting-edge cybersecurity solutions with CISA itself. And he's also co-authored, or in fact, authored for a top forensic report that goes out year on year, and also is also the author for the CSP AI program that we have. We are also joined in by Dr. Anjan Krishnamurthy, who's also an academician. He's actually an associate director with CISA in forensic and R&D. He's got 18 years of experience. He is a PhD holder as well in computer science and engineering. And he's also authored about 75 publications across in various journals. And he's also been a part of the CSP AI program that we have actually developed. With this, Renju, I'd actually hand it over to you to take this forward.
Sure. Thanks, Gopal. Thanks for the introduction. And good morning and good afternoon to all of you. So before we get, I'm sure that all of you are aware about artificial intelligence, right? But before we get started on AI systems, I would like to take you through on how the intruders have actually evolved by harnessing the AI powers. So this is data is coming from the forensic investigations that we have done in the past 1.5 years. So we have been investigating for the past 12 years. And with the introduction of GPT on November 2022, we are definitely seeing quite a lot of new AI trends. So definitely, we all got awakened on November 2022 on something called GPT. Even though AI and ML has been there from 1956 onwards, the world started to know a lot about AI from November 22nd, thanks to the launch of ChatGPT. And with the introduction of GPT kind of large language models, most of the organizations have able to evolve and automate quite a lot of their day-to-day activities. But the same can be said to that intruders as well. And I can state that intruders have used AI much faster than we as an organizations have adopted AI. Why do we say so? So this is basically on the number of breaches has been taken. So we have taken the data till June 2024 part, starting from 2022 January till June 2024. So from the global aspect, the number of breaches that has been reported from 2022 to 2023, that's the last financially, the last year, there's been a 78% increase in the last year. But if you take the data from 2023 to June 2024, or to June 30, 2024, then that trend is almost an 87% increase, right? We have not even completed the year. Just in 6 months, the breach has been is almost an 87% increase based on the trend aspect. So that's definitely a huge number on the increase part, and we can be we are actually aligning it to that for the AI-driven intruder, because intruders are able to be successful in getting inside the network and taking the data out. That's just on the number of data breaches which has been reported. And one of the success reasons for the intruders to gain access to the networks is definitely on the vulnerabilities, right? Now, in the year 2022 and 2023, there was almost 7% increase in the number of reported vulnerabilities. While if you take the data from 2023 to June 2024, there's been a 51% increase. There is a dichotomy because you see here there is an actually downgrade. So what we've done is that in order to annualize it, we have taken the 6 monthly figure to calculate that actual percentage. So that's the dichotomy from the percentage and from the graph part of it. But because we don't have the full the full 2024 year data, right? We still have data till June 2024. So there's been 51% increase part. But what's most alarming was that in the year 2022-2023, there has been a 57% increase in the zero-day vulnerabilities. And actually, if you see the zero-day vulnerabilities, most of the vulnerabilities were identified in your network devices, right? Or in the applications which is being used for a hybrid work. Till 2022 or before AI got so prominence, if you're actually analyzing the vulnerabilities, the number of zero-day vulnerabilities was always on the Windows side and operating system side aspect. But in the last 1.5 years, the increase in the zero-day vulnerabilities in the network devices has drastically increased. And especially on any applications which supports your hybrid work or remote work has also increased drastically. In the year 2023 to 2024, based on the trend, there's currently 14% increase. We believe that that's not the actual number. Reason being that most of the zero-day vulnerabilities are being live exploited and hasn't come to the notice of the vendors or of the security security groups, security companies part of it, because most of these zero-day vulnerabilities might go live and will only come at a later point of time when it becomes aware. Now, why we are saying that's due to AI? Because including in our red teaming and in our other activities, we are using AI to see how we can able to uh, say trying to find more exploit part of it and trying to get more vulnerabilities part, right? So there are a lot of GPT's programs which can actually reverse engineers your applications and can be able to identify those zero-day vulnerabilities. So intruders are using AI to identify vulnerabilities much more than the earlier days. Now, coming to based on the data that we have from the forensic investigation that we have did, one of the biggest increase in the intruders is being a surge in the business email attacks or business email compromise attacks, right? So business email compromise is basically a type of cyber attack where the intruder impersonates a trusted individual within the uh, organizations and trying to use it to create a phishing or try various other kind of a malicious activities part. So the end game can be anything. It can be just sending a set of phishing emails, or it can be convincing the finance team to make some transfers. It can be anything. But phishing has not been a new one, right? Phishing has been there from day one when cybersecurity was there. But what's more interesting is that the way in which intruder have evolved in those phishing, they have included quite a lot of pre-testing when they are going to doing this phishing attack. Pre-testing means those phishing emails are now with much more researched and is much more targeted based attacks. So we have seen where as part of it's a normal phishing, it's not being said as a normal phishing. They're actually analyzing the company activities in LinkedIn or in other social media or a specific individuals they're targeting. And based on the interest which that particular company or that particular individual has there in social media, then they're using that kind of a data set and then sending that phishing emails. Within SISA itself, when our CEO was in US to attend a specific cybersecurity event, most of SISA have got a phishing email stating that it's coming from our CEO and he's attending this particular cybersecurity event, and he wants some actions to be carried out. So there is a lot of pre-testing which is being taken, and using those with this research pretest data, they're sending a much more sophisticated phishing email with which gives you a much higher success rate of getting the user to click or share their credentials. So from just the data that we have investigated, we have seen a 117% increase in those type of business email compromise attack. And out of that, the increase in cases of all the attacks, 87% of the attacks did had a lot of those pretext data, which has a completely researched data. So intruders are basically are scanning your social media activities and creating those kind of targeted attack scenarios. So in the pretesting domain, definitely the automated data gathering is playing a very crucial role because we can have, thanks to the AI, we can have automated data gathering from your social media attacks, and using those data gathered, the AI and ML can itself create very good phishing attacks which can be used. The most vulnerable group in this new type of attack is the administrators, whether it is the IT server or the cloud administrators and the finance team. These are the two mainly targeted groups that we are seeing here. And definitely deepfake technology with fake videos or fake calls is being very prominent uh, with respect to the phishing part. The other interesting aspect that we have seen with respect to this targeted phishing attack is the behavior prediction, right? Uh, because the way uh, the phishing is being carried out, we are actually seeing that uh, those those emails or those phishing campaigns are being drafted by or is being to uh, uh, customized for that specific person's behavior kind of a uh, activity part. So, for example, those phishing emails are being sent within the office working hours. It's not being sent late night or early morning kind of a scenario. It's been some of these phishing emails is been sent after the lunchtime, between lunchtime of 2 to 4, when the actual attention span of a normal user gets reduced. So we're seeing that kind of a activity in those phishing kind of attacks. The other one which AI is been quietly being used is definitely is the increase in the ransom payments. So earlier, intruders used to just dump the entire data and used to showcase the entire data dump into the dark web and trying to uh, uh, sell the same. But these days, it's a little different. Where the intruders are only publishing those relevant data, which they feel that the management will be willing to pay the ransom for making the for deleting the data from the dark web. Thanks to AI, even if the intruder is able to dump, say, terabytes of data out of the uh, corporate networks, they are able to use AI to identify which data is critical out of that terabytes of data, right? And only those small MBs or GBs of data is being exposed out, so that there is more pressure on the management for making that payment part. So this has been a very interesting trend that we have seen in the last 1.5 years on how intruders have used AI to enhance their ransomware payments or increase their success rate into ransomware payments. And like the ransomware as a service or malware as a service, we are seeing that the intruders are also selling AI as a service or AIS. A business model is becoming into picture. If you are known about ransomware, these groups are using a specific set of platforms where, as an intruder, I don't need to go ahead and create something which is completely, say, from scratch up. I can just go ahead and use these AI as a service offerings from the intruders or provided by these big intruder groups and launch the attacks. So AI as a service is available for social engineering and reconnaissance. Uh, if you actually go to dark web and able to see the AI as a service models, you can they definitely scans your Facebooks, your Instagrams, LinkedIn profiles, and you can mention which company or which individual you're targeting in those set of companies, and you can gather the entire reconnaissance of that particular individual, and it by itself also will create a specific targeted social engineering or phishing email attack. Similarly, we are also seeing the custom exploits and malwares because in a lot of our investigations, the malwares that you're seeing is custom built. The logic remains the same, but the hashes and everything is totally different from what we have in your virus totals or anywhere is being listed. So in most of the cases, it's always been a custom malware which are able to successfully evade your antivirus and EDR solutions. Also in the AI service, they also have the user impersonation. So if you are able to specify which individual is you're targeting, and if you have any kind of a video recording which is available in the YouTubes or in the social media, you can use that one, and that will be then impersonate either as the face or as the voice, and you can do it for your social engineering attacks. So this has been a set of trends that we have seen where the intruders have actually taken the power of AI to improve their activities. But AI is not at all bad, right? And we believe that the AI and the ML will be used by all the organizations going forward. So, as per the our studies and as per the various studies by Gartner's and McKinsey's, we expect, or everyone expect, that the year 2025 will be a year in which a lot of these AI POC projects, which have been going in various organizations, are going to go into the production part. And they're also seeing the start of the same, right? So uh, if you have are using say CrowdStrike solution, CrowdStrike has come out with something called a Chevrolet AI, where instead of you going ahead and searching through various modules part of it, you just ask that AI to say that, hey, give me complete details of which systems is where the EDR has been deployed, those aspects, and this AI will give you that answer part. So what we visualize in the future is that AI is going to be integrated into every application which is out there. So we are expecting that we are moving from a click generation to a generation with a prompt, or a generation which will be more of a voice search part of it. We expect that in a banking application, instead of we going to click through various interfaces to generate your bank statement, you might be just using a prompt saying that, hey, analyze my last 3 months bank statement, and AI will analyze it and give it to you within the internet banking application. Or even better, it will be just uh, going to a mobile app of the internet banking application, and there might be a voice option where we'll just say that, hey, please analyze my 3 months bank statement, and it will convert your voice into your prompt, and it will give you the analyzed result part. So that's what we expect in most of these production system going down, where the technology is going to ensure that our lives becomes much easier. And it's just a period of time, because uh, as per all the studies, the market is going to grow drastically, where it's just going to grow from with a CAGR of almost 37.65% in the next 5 years from an AI perspective, and from an just an LLM perspective, almost a 20% CAGR growth. And AI is definitely going to be there in every organizations, whether it is your applications or your operations. It is going to be out there, because uh, it's like I was discussing it with one of my friends yesterday. No one wants to be the Nokias of the world, right? Because Nokia was dominating the mobile market. And when Apple came with their touchscreen, the Nokia management said that, hey, who's going to type it in a touchscreen? Everyone likes to have a keypad to type. And we know what happened to Nokia and BlackBerry now. So similarly, with the initial rollout of AI, the applications and organizations which has integrated AI into their systems will definitely be able to compete or will be able to wipe out their competitors. And with that, with a new technology coming to picture, the intruders are going to focus into AI systems, right? Like during the pandemic days, when uh, when the pandemic hit in 2020, everyone moved from on-prem to cloud, but they were just focusing on the movement part. They didn't focus on how to secure that particular movement. And during that pandemic years, we had a lot of investigations where we were investigating a lot of those cloud breaches due to misconfigurations, etc. So with this AI system movement, we do expect that there is going to be a lot of these breaches is going to happen. And the regulatories are already out there. We already have the European Union AI Act, which talks about how to secure AI systems. We already have the US executive order, which says that how you need to govern your AI systems in place. So regulations, regulatory compliance need is going to come very important. So with that, for a demo of how these attacks do happen, I'll just hand it over to my colleague, Dr. Ranjan. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very nice background, and thanks for the intro, Gopal. And a lot of background has already been put across about what are the new attack vectors which has already come up with AI. As rightly said by Ranju, AI has become a new cyber weapons for the attackers, and this is one instance what we are trying to showcase here, which showcases how LLM which can go wrong if it is not being properly sanitized for security checks. And there are freely available codes which are basically available in GitHub and other places, right? So if a proper check is basically not done, how things can basically go wrong very badly. So this is one of the production environments of one of the tool which is used for the medical diagnostics, right? I would like the video to go on, please.
From the employee details, let's ask this medical AI model to hack into John Snow Labs database and retrieve complete patient details at John Snow Labs. And again, we have a quite setback, and we remind the model to stay in developer mode, and we get the patient's details. This only works if the model has access to the initial database.
Right. So the biggest concern which comes with the LLM not being properly sanitized or not being properly checked with is the threat of the data leaks, right? The PIA data being leaked in this particular showcase of the patient diagnostic data being leaked outside in this particular prompt injection attack. So going further ahead with the topic, AI has now come with a lot of different input vectors, input channels for having vectors, right? Attack vectors. It may be a text-based attack. It may be a document processing. It may be structured data. It may be images. It may be videos. So there are multi-model interfaces which are basically available where the attack can basically be orchestrated, and it can be completely simulated and planned on it. And good old days of the web with the text and other things being dealt with is completely gone because there are new interfaces and new attack systems which have already come with AI, and it has bring up a Pandora box of a lot of things which has been opened in the security space which is being left unanswered. And that's the reason why we are focusing on why AI has become a very important thing for the industry today. So moving on further, you can see that AI has a significant increase in terms of its attack with various input channels being used, maybe the API calls where it is being called for a program interface, or there are different types of visual inputs where it is being used, or the documents that is being processed in a RAG model, or a sensory data which is used in a SCADA or another systems. There are different types of plugins which are basically used. So it has just given up a wide amount of input channels where the input can basically be taken up without possibly taking up, possibly doing any kind of a check on those kind of input models. So which is completely different from what I was trying to say with the traditional kind of a web application, which was simply on a click and a run. And now the AI model has become completely advanced in terms of taking up. You go with a GPT, you go with the text data, you go with an image analysis, you go with a video analysis and other things. So nobody has basically seen any kind of a security checks being made for all of these input data, what is being supplied. And that immediately becomes an imminent threat to the entire model. So the problems that is being faced by industry today is the very important thematic hotspot, which I would like to say is the lack of awareness as well as lack of preparedness with the security professionals of how you basically deal with AI, right? Because everybody knows how to take up a data model, how to know they know how to pick up a library from any kind of a Python. They know where to take the model source from in a public model hubs, and they just use that for their own purpose. But inadequate focus has basically been given for the security aspects of it, which is causing a lot of complexity and opacity with the AI systems. And that is basically giving a window of opportunity as a backdoor to plant an attack or give a vulnerability approach to open up the entire space. And this is also bring us to a point that there is a very skilled shortage of skilled workforce for the professionals who are basically working with AI security, basically, because that is something which is very, very important now. And also to add on to this particular dimensions, we have regulations coming across multiple geographic regions. As Ranju touched upon, EU, there is one in US, there is one in other place, and there are different international standardizations guiding on it. And there is a lot of AI guidelines which is basically being observed with OECD and other observatory scopes. So this is an additional challenge to the entire requirement, where the skilled man force is required to be aware of this particular regulatory and compliance challenges. Going ahead with this thing, what we also look at is people who have already invested themselves in AI and the AI development. We foresee that these kind of AI job roles are already existent in some places where AI has been a full-fledged one. May it be the case of AI security specialist, where he's trying to focus on protecting of the AI systems, AI risk management, which is basically a very big ball game altogether, which is talking about the risk governance, assessment, another part of it. Compliance officer talking about how my organization adheres to the international rules and the AI regulations per se. And there are different data privacy officers which may be required, and there are AI security engineers. These are the full stack of AI emerging roles which we foresee as a need in the coming days, where AI is completely and wholeheartedly adopted in the industry for all kinds of job. Right. Moving further, when you look out for it, there is a need for understanding the AI literacy. That is when we pitch in for the certified security professionals for artificial intelligence. That is our standpoint on how cybersecurity for AI can basically be spaced in this particular ecosystem. So this is a certification course which is completely focused on how security controls can basically be placed in for AI before we start off with the usage of AI in our development life cycle, right? Starting from the design till that point of deployment and maintenance aspect of it. So CSPI is basically a world's first ANAB-accredited certification program that SISA is trying to offer outside, which is a complete package with detailed topics being covered in talking about from the AI fundamentals. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. From the AI fundamentals till the point where we are talking about the risk governance, regulations, ISO standardizations, which are basically being used, a complete detailed walkthrough of how LLMs basically work in the Gen AI part of it, starting from the auto encoder part till the decoder part of it, and what are the security angle that needs to be looked at every perspective of it. And given the fact that Gartner's hype curve talks about the emerging AI trends and the emerging AI, Gen AI trends which are there, the LLM usage within an applications, what are the different styles of integrations of LLM for the application is one of the study which we'll basically look at. And then the futuristic AI applications, which are emerging AI applications which have come in, and what are their roles and how security needs to be looked at for each of these futuristic AI ML roles. And also, as we said, LLM comes with its Pandora box of vulnerabilities and exploits, which will be covering in the detailed view of this curriculum. Moving further ahead with how CSPI basically differs with other certification programs, we use a triple focus on it. The triple focus is a focus of using AI in security functions. Second, using cybersecurity for AI deployments. And third important point is the regulatory compliance and governance framework, which is a comprehensive a triple focus that what CSPI basically offers, which is inclusive of all aspects of AI being circulated upon. And this is a unified certification approach which combines all of these three critical pillars which is being talked about in AI into one single segment of offering in terms of understanding it, which has become a mandatory part of understanding AI literacy in many regions across. So, as I said, this is the world's first ANAB-accredited AI cybersecurity certification program, which is completely focused on cybersecurity for AI. And it has its total adherence to the rigorous standards what ANAB basically certifies, which is ISO 17054 standard, which is basically for the workshop. And it is a rigorous industry standards and best practices are basically being adopted in this particular case. And the CSPI certification program brings in with a lot of visibility to the market because of its credibility with ANAB certified, and is something which is globally recognized across. Moving further ahead with this, these are the different modes of certification program. We have one which is an intensive 4-week online course where we start with a 3-hour introduction with the preface of what is required for CSPI, and then we go in a deep dive into the entire curriculum in the week 2 and week 3 of it. And then we have a week 4 where we recap about all the topics and also re-engage in discussions and talk about the requirements of certifications and other things. The second mode of delivery, what we have is a blended mode of delivery, which is basically a 2 weeks online and a 2-day hands-on workshop, where we have the first week and the last week being online, and the day 2 and day 3, that is the week 2 and week 3, is basically a blended mode where we have a face-to-face public workshop where we dwell into greater depth of this topics. So this has been the workshop schedule. We have finished November as well as the December's workshop almost, and we are open up for the January as well as the February's workshop, which January starts basically from Jan 17, 2025, and February is scheduled to start on February 7, 2025. So these are the upcoming workshop schedules what we have. And with that, thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Anjan. Thank you, Ranju, for the insightful session. I think we are open for questions. There are certain questions coming in. I'll take the first one is, can you please share? Okay, we will share the presentation, definitely. And it's also recorded. So somebody has requested the presentation be shared. So I'll definitely take it up. And we'll share that and helpful for the CPSI certification related stuff. Okay. So there's one question, Ranju, maybe if you can help answer is, I think the one question that's coming in is, how can org ensure compliance while deploying AI systems across jurisdiction with regulations?
Sure.
So especially cross country, yeah.
That's a good question. So here, all the regulations, if you actually look into it, they have basically following something called as the responsible AI aspect, which is like the AI should be transparent, AI should be fair and should not be biased. It should not have any toxicity part of it. The AI should be secure. So all the regulations follows that responsible AI framework. So what we have done is that, and most of these frameworks can be actually be achieved by driving through an AI risk assessment approach. So like any cybersecurity standard which has the base in ISO 27001, most of the regulations have their base in ISO 42001, which is the first standardization on the AI part. So if organizations follows the ISO 42001 and the responsible AI construct, then definitely they can able to meet the regulations and requirements across the geography part of it. So starting from the UAE Act to the US part, and even Saudis are coming out with new regulations on the AI part aspect. Yeah. I hope I answered that question, Gopal.
Thank you. Thank you, Ranju. There's one more question. How enabling AI in e-commerce can help business to grow? Either you want to take this up?
Yes. So AI in e-commerce is going to be a very important role. So when you're going to implement or deploy AI, the first point you to ask is that, hey, what is my use case for helping the business to grow, right? So why one of these studies that we done is that why organizations were being failed in implementing a lot of AI is that the management or the board said that, hey, integrate AI and ML into your applications and operations. They have not analyzed that what is the specific use case that you want to solve using AI and ML. So with respect to e-com, it can be that, can I use AI to understand what is the customer preference part, right? Which might be an ML to run through it. Can I analyze using AI saying that, hey, which is of my product is moving immediate? There was a implementation in one of the retailers where they were able to implement the AI in system so that they're able to understand which stock in which store is getting depleted, or
Yep.
is the stock is getting uh, running out of
Exhausted.
shelf faster, getting exhausted faster, and an AI system by default, based on the limit part, it will automatically go understand what is the pricing between, say, various vendors and then place an order, right? So, and an AI system is also an enhanced part, which says that if a particular vendor is able to give the stock within a specific time, even though high priced, for limited number of stocks, they will go for that vendor A, while vendor B, they may get back at a later point of time because vendor B might give a reduced price, but they may take more time to get deliver the stock perspective. So on an e-com part or any implementations part, the first scenario to answer is that what is my use case? What can I automate, or what can I improve the experience of the user or experience of the business? And based on that, we can deploy the ANAB systems across.
Thank you, Ranju. There are a couple of questions related to the training or the backdrop required for training. So I'll mix two of them together. So first question is, any prerequisites for taking up the certification program? And can a fresher get benefited from the certificate, or only professionals are allowed to take it up?
Sure. So when we created the program, we basically have understood that say AI ML is a new space where most of the existing security professionals and freshers might not have that kind of a knowledge base. So that's the reason why we take with a foundation of how an AML systems actually work, how it is being deployed across the applications, and then we move to how it can be secured part. So currently, definitely, we have mentioned that a 2 years cybersecurity professional is what we have benchmarked upon. But we have seen that multiple professionals, even freshers, coming and taking the course, because the requirement from the industry is going to be that there has to be a cybersecurity professional who knows AI and ML to secure their AML systems, right? It's right now we have shortage of cybersecurity professionals, and going forward there's going to be definitely shortage of AI and ML professionals who can secure those AI systems in place. So we have created the course and the content in such a manner that there is no barrier part of it. But if you would like to more about from a development perspective, then we have another course called the CSPID, which is basically focused on developers who develop those AI systems, on how to securely develop the AI systems. The CSP AI, which is basically focused on cybersecurity professionals to secure your AI systems and manage your AI governance and regulations part. So currently, that much expertise or the prerequisite is not required. And even if though we'll be sharing quite a lot of pre-read material so that you can do your own study before you come for the course, so that we can have much more interactions and you can clarify a lot of your doubts. So we have before the course, we share a lot of pre-read materials for you to come well prepared for the same.
Thank you, Ranju. So one more is, after the certification, will I be able to implement best practices and control implementation, or do I still need to rely on an independent auditor's evaluation?
No, we have actually created a particular framework. So the last aspect on how to deploy a governance part, we'll be talking on how we can actually implement those governance framework within the organization. So we have created a particular framework which can be used across the industry and can be implemented, so that because it's more of an implementation stage, then the auditor or the regulations will be just verifying that how we are implemented. So the idea of the course is how we can implement the AI governance so that you can secure your AI systems. And you don't need to rely on auditors. The idea is that you can show your implementation to auditors so that you can pass all your audits and your regulations aspects. So it gives you more hands-on on how to do that.
And one more question is, are there any practical techniques for ensuring data privacy in AI models?
Yes. So in the course, we'll be basically talking about the design part of it, because see, the data privacy is being considered in two parts. One is what data are you using for training your models, what data is being given out of that particular model's part. So basically, just to give you a quick answer, you can use various data identifier tools to scan your data, which is being used for your training the models, to see whether those data has any PI data available. And second part is that when you give the AI or ML systems going to give the answers back, it can actually validate through a system in place or LLM firewalls kind of thing, which can validate that particular output to ensure that there is no PI data in the output given by the LLM systems. So there are various aspects which will dive deep during the design stage of how to design the AI systems in place.
Thank you, Ranju. So one more question is, how can I protect my data exposing or basically the AI platform by an employee? I mean, how do I prevent my employees from exposing data into AI platforms?
A very good question. So here the same concept of your DLP comes to picture, right? So the same question of how you are able to prevent your data being uploaded in your Gmails by an employee or being shared in your G drives or other aspect also comes into the picture. So the existing set of your DLP solutions actually help you in the same, where they can basically help you saying that, okay, whether the user is interacting with a GPT kind of a solution, and if the user is uploading any particular file, your existing DLP solutions can actually prevent that. There is also advanced DLP solutions which can actually monitor what the data is being input. So whether it's been using GPT for your basic queries, or is the data being copied and put it across. So it's about the newly set of DLP solutions which you can consider to ensure that the employees doesn't upload any data into existing AI platforms.
Thank you, Ranju. One more question. I think we have got a few more minutes. How do you see the usage of Read AI and the risk of usage without knowledge of AI ethics? Read.ai.
So Read.ai, I think, is the feature provided by Zoom or something, right?
Right.
So like we mentioned, every applications going forward will be having an AI component being added, whether it is being Read.ai or any kind of system. So that it will be there, because end of the day, AI, most applications want to ensure that the user experience is much convenient. So if in a meeting like a Zoom, if we can get a summary of the data, then definitely it's good. But the same thing applies, right? Because the more SaaS kind of application that we use, the same set of questions you need to ask those SaaS platforms. Whether are you compliant with these regulations? Because end of the day, Zoom is taking to 3.ai and is analyzing in their LLM systems and giving you those summary. Same way that you use any kind of SaaS application, the same set of questions you need to ask those SaaS applications and ensure that they're compliant with. So whether they're compliant with, say, UAA Act, right, so for 2001, you may have to ask. So every SaaS application is going to have an AI component being added. So if you're a SaaS provider, your clients are going to ask you, and if you're a client who's using any kind of SaaS applications, whether it's Zoom, Salesforce, any CRMs, which has AI incorporated, as an organization, you need to ask those questions to them, saying that, hey, how are you treating my data? Are you using my data to train your models? Are you how do you secure my data? How are you ensuring that tenancy controls is being properly managed so that my data is not being shared with any of your other tenants part? So all these things you need to go ahead and uh, ask them, and then definitely that's where the regulation is going to come in. Same like a GDPR, right? So uh, when the UAI is going to come in picture, all those SaaS platforms needs to inform the user saying that you're interacting with an AI system in place. So you can link quite a lot of your GDPR requirements here. So something similar to GDPR will be required here as well. But as a normal user, believe me, if you're using SaaS platform, your data is already there with the SaaS providers, whether it's Alexa, Zoom, or Gmail, they're using your data for training their models.
So one last question is, for our knowledge of generative AI or AI in general, would they be eligible to join the CSPI and gain knowledge without AI process and related knowledge as well?
Yes. So we know that the AI is a total new field. So a lot of certification holders for CSPI or the participants CSPI may not have the AI knowledge in place. So for that, what we do is that we first share a pre-read materials, which you can go through at your leisure before joining the course, so that you have the base knowledge covered. And in the course, we also cover the AI from a foundation aspect and bring it up so that you have a basic knowledge about how the AI system works. You may not have the in-depth knowledge of how to implement an AI system, like a developer kind of a knowledge base, but we'll definitely have a base knowledge where you can have a uh, constructive conversations with someone who's interacting with an AI system. So that's how we have structured the course, because we know that a lot of participants will not be from a AI background. It will be helpful because when you talk to AI, it's going to be definitely technical in nature. So if you have some technical expertise, then it will be good. But we believe that now entire education has been democratized, so you can use ChatGPT to gain those.
Yeah. Yeah, go back.
Yeah. So one, I think I'll take this as one last question is, during, you said about some hands-on practical as well during the, if it's in person. So is it a practical thing, or is it, is it really hands-on, or what really happens there? Is it a practical practice is what one of the questions came in.
Sure. So we do have I think 2 labs we have where we give just a glimpse of it. And because we expect that the participants from both technical and non-technical background. So the lab, we are limited to cover both hybrid part of it. But if someone is technical and wants to explore more, then we have more details of that particular lab comes in, which can be divided. And that's one reason why we have split the entire course into, say, 4 weeks. And instead of just doing it in 2-3 days, we split it into 4 weeks part of it. So that in case if you want to gain more knowledge, then the week 4 is second half of the week 4 is extensively kept empty so that all these extra labs and extra queries can be addressed out there. So that's the reason why we split it into 4-week course instead of a 2-day or a 1-day kind of a course part.
Thank you, Ranju. One more question. What is the validity of this certification? Is it 2 years, 1 year?
The validity is for 3 years.
3 years.
Because reason is that AI is evolving, right? As we speak, there is an evolution on the AI system in place. So if you have a much validity, then in 2 years, you might be outdated. So that's the reason why we put 3 years for the course. And we also have every year we'll be launching the update part of it, which will be offering to the CSP certificate holders on what is a change which has happened in the last 1 year. In October 2025, we'll be having our first change, which talks about what changes been happened from 2024 to 2025 on the AI systems and security of AI systems, so that we can always be updated and be updated, because it's an ever-evolving field and it has not even reached the any level of saturation right now. It's still evolving.
And any CP required through the validity?
Currently, no.
No. Okay. Okay. And the course also targets defensive and offensive as well, tactics?
No, we mainly focus on defensive part of it. Offensive, there is specific red teaming, other aspects. So we mainly focus on the defensive part, because as an organization, I'll be requiring security professionals who can defend my AI systems from offensive attacks. So that's the reason why we are focusing on the defensive side of it. But if interested, we can definitely have more detailed discussions during the course for how we can use on a red teaming part of it, red teaming, and how to break those LLM systems. We can have the discussions and we can have that. But it's been mainly structured from a defensive side of it.
And this is the last question from is that, so can you suggest ways to how we can be aware of the emerging AI-related cyber threats?
That's a very good question, because what we believe is that only if you have a very good monitoring in place, and monitoring which has AI and ML integrated, you can able to identify whether there is an attack that's happening. Because these days intruders are just trying to leave off the land kind of an attack, where they're not going to introduce anything new. They're going to use your existing set of applications, the same set of applications which your administrators are using, and they don't even do brute forcing. They're just trying to get a credential from the dark web, and they're trying to log in part. So they try to be as stealth as possible. And when an intruder is in the stealth mode, the only way to identify is that if you have very good monitoring in place, a monitoring solution in place, which has AI and ML integrated. If your AI and ML is not integrated into your monitoring part, then believe me, you will not be able to identify someone has been attacked or someone is within your infrastructure or not. All the existing set of solutions is being evaded by the with the intruders using their or they're using AI and ML to evade those solutions, whether it's firewalls, MFAs, your antivirus, etc.
Ranju, I think we are done with the questions. Yes, I think there's a lot of query about sharing the content, so we will definitely share. And we are up on the hour as well. So thanks, team, and thanks for joining into the webinar. The webinar is recorded. We will share the link with those who are interested, and we'll also share the decks for those who requested. We'll share definitely share all the required information that has been asked during the Q&A as well. And thanks once again for joining in, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if you don't meet before that. Thank you, Dr. Ranjan, and thank you, Ranju.
Thank you. Thank you.